Legally, since you were banished.
Since March 8th was when I was arrested. So March 10th I got out, and that was when the conditions began. March 10th, coming up quick.
We look live, don't we? Do
Look
we
at
look
that,
live?
look at that.
How live can we possibly look for you folks today? Welcome to the show. It's a special day here. I'm Marijuana Man, and this is From Under the Influence, featuring our good friend Jody Emery.
Hello.
Who's back in the house and back on the show.
That's right, back in the studio, live here in front of the Pot TV audience that we've known for so long. And it's been a long time since I was here. I was arrested in March on the 8th, got out on the 10th. That's when I had to agree to bail conditions that told me I couldn't do anything with cannabis culture, which was kind of vague because...
That was a long time ago.
This is sometimes 7.5 months, if math is correct. I hate math, but by bail, I remember being there when I met my lawyer for the first time, Jack Lloyd, who's amazing. And he said, Jody, they want you to not go to any cannabis culture. And I said, yeah, but cannabis culture headquarters is media and Pot TV, and that's not illegal. I have to be allowed to go to Pot TV and the magazine studio and the head shop and the lounge. Like, none of that, you know. So I tried to explain, but it got a little iffy. And he said, listen, if you really want to try and split hairs, we're going to be in here for the full weekend. So you'll spend 4 more nights in maximum security remand to argue over whether you can go to one building out of all the buildings that have cannabis culture on the door. So I decided, okay, fine.
That's how they get you.
Just no cannabis culture, fine. And so I would just stand on the street out front and look like a sad lost puppy dog, you know, let me in. And sit at the coffee shop, like normal coffee, not weed coffee shop, but, you know, caffeine coffee shop. I'd sit there and meet with people looking at the building, missing it. But we kind of got some clarification. I guess the cops and the Crown said, no, we're not going to breach them on bail if they go to Pot TV or cannabis culture or do their legal activism media work. That would be ridiculous. And it would. Okay. So if anyone's watching from the Toronto Police Services, I'm behaving, so don't get me in trouble.
Being well behaved.
Yes.
So leave her alone,
Okay.
would you? Well, we're thrilled that you're back, and we missed you terribly while you were gone. Mark II. And we'll hope to see him someday soon. But life is good in Toronto.
Oh, it is. Wow, Vancouver is actually a really small, sleepy town. Once you live in a big city for a while, holy smokes. I mean, it's beautiful here. I'm happy to be home and all. But wow, even it's a quiet town. And it's pretty small. But that's also very good because it's our home. It's where I've been all this time. It's where our entire team is. And there's still like 70 people still on payroll here working for cannabis culture, maybe 80, I think I was told. And that's, more than when I left.
It's like a gang.
No, it's not.
Don't you think that it just really feels like a gang?
The good old gang, just like Scooby-Doo and the gang, or organized crime, as they like to call us, because, 3 people passing a joint, like Trudeau and his buddies at their backyard party, that's organized crime. So breaking the law with some other people makes you an organized criminal. So I guess we're pretty sophisticated here.
Yeah, we should mention, too, that even though it is a sleepy little city, Kush Queen managed to get caught in traffic.
Oh, yeah.
So she'll be along.
That's funny, because I was in a taxi, which I forgot how terrible are to get here in Vancouver. Oh, my goodness. But I finally snagged one like a unicorn, and I was in it, and he was driving, and he was speeding around. He was so mad at the traffic, and he's like, the traffic's terrible here. And I was like, nah, I've been in Toronto. This traffic is not terrible. Toronto. I'll tell you how to enjoy driving in Toronto is for your first time, leave downtown at 4:30 on a Friday afternoon. After about 2 hours of trying to get on a 20-minute ramp that normally should be 20 minutes, every experience after that is peachy. So, start with the worst and everything else is great. That's what I learned and experienced myself. But no, Vancouver's beautiful. I'm so happy to be here. It's great to see some of the team. I haven't seen everybody yet. Like I said, there's a lot of people here and can't just tell them to all leave work so they can come say hi. But we have our Halloween party here, so that's going to be fun. I'm sure I'll get to see everyone there then.
I'm sure everybody will be there. I was caught in traffic in Saskatoon.
There's traffic? Who's in Saskatoon?
Last weekend.
Yeah, for the Prairie.
In a cab.
Prairie Medicinal Harvest Cup,
Yep.
that's right.
And another car pulled up beside us, and they yelled at me, "Hey, marijuana man!" in the middle of the fucking
Can't
prairie.
go anywhere. That's awesome.
It was funny.
Oh man. Well, I'm so
But-
glad to see you guys still working hard here and representing and
Yeah,
and
it's going along well.
you know, it makes me proud that like cannabis culture has been around for so long, longer than me as part of it for sure. And that, you know, the grassroots and the craft industry and the culture and so much of what exists today is thanks to everything that cannabis culture and you and all the others have done. You know, I was invited to the Canadian Securities Exchange event on cannabis, going public with your cannabis business.
yeah.
So they asked me to go, and I know nothing about the difference between a stock and a rock. So anyway, I went because they asked me to, and I felt like I was in school, which is good. I was learning some things that were rudimentary about stock markets. But at the very beginning, the host, James, told everybody assembled. He said, I just noticed Jody Emery is here, and I want to point out that without the work of her, an activist, we wouldn't be here today to talk about this. We wouldn't be here able to create these jobs and this revenue, and none of this would exist at all without the hard work and sacrifice of Jody Emery and Mark and everyone else. So just want to
Well,
thank
that
them.
was
And
good
I
of
gave a
them to
round
do
of
that.
applause, and I'm like, well, and they took a picture with me and put it out there and said they were
Wow.
pleased. And I mean, so this is like it's Canada's smallest stock market trading thing. Like there's the Toronto Stock Exchange and there's something else, and then there's these guys, but they have a lot of cannabis businesses on their thing
Oh, yeah, you bet
or whatever.
do.
They said it's like 75% of it all or something.
We've been
interesting.
hiding for fucking our whole lives, and these idiots are all going public.
Right, it's like very interesting and weird. It's a
Strange dichotomy.
I'm kind of torn about it because on the one hand, I'm really resentful. I feel like the old granny activist being like, you kids don't know how good you've got it, and you should show some respect for the people who came before you. And I still feel that way, and they've got to have respect. And I've said it even at the Grow Up conference. Like this is in Niagara Falls, and there's like 200 suits all there looking to invest in business and this and that. And I told them all that. You know, I said to them that you do need to respect those who came before you because it isn't some new invention. It's something that people have gone to prison for and died for and suffer for still today. Kids taken away from their parents today. Patients dying without access to cannabis today. Like it still goes on. So I lectured them. I do give them that. But there's also that side of me that tries to imagine myself when I was in high school and I was against marijuana and I was against everything related to drugs and fun and whatever, you know, as an authoritarian, I loved a
Everything
police
related
and
to
uniform thing. I was a totally different person. And then Cannabis and Culture Magazine and Pot TV and my friends opened my eyes and I slowly transitioned. I even remember my first letter to the newspaper when I came here as an activist. I wrote to the newspaper and I said, you have to legalize marijuana, but you should send all the cops after all the druggies on the downtown east side and like go after all the other drugs. And so I was in the first step, which is pro-cannabis, but not understanding prohibition. And then I slowly evolved. But even today, I'm still learning. So when I meet all these suits and sharks and opportunists, but some of them might be good people and you don't know who's who, all I can think is if we are open to teaching them things, and we encourage them to use cannabis, whether they like it or not, they're going to go through what happened to me. And their cannabis, as it does with everybody, will change them. It'll change them from the inside out to think of things differently. And I see a lot of these people who I really kind of resent at first. I'm like, you smarmy, political, connected business guy. And then they talk about how their dad has cancer, and then they realize they needed to get cannabis and it helps. And I'm like, oh man. So there's that side of me that's like, okay, so all the bad. Okay, so they're still converting, and when cannabis is used, maybe they'll all change into being better people. That's my hope.
will.
This is the hope. So keep pushing and campaigning and educating, I guess. But that's what I'm trying to do. So it's very interesting, you know, Bay Street, which is like Wall Street for Canada. Bay Street, there's a big group there that invited me to moderate a panel and talk to all their politicos and business types about pots. So it's very interesting, but I know how to dress the part. I throw on my high heels again and, you know, a dress and go talk business. Yay, hi,
Kush Queen. Kush Queen has arrived. If you didn't,
Literally, real. Like I drove by cars that are like almost the entire hood is underwater.
Because the leaves are blocking the drains.
Crazy.
All right.
yeah.
Where shall I go? Middle or so you go middle? go. You're easy.
In between.
It doesn't always have to be in between.
Sandwich. Now you get to have Alfie.
Well, we got to get another microphone put together.
This should work.
Alyssa will do that.
On it. Great to see you.
Thanks. So lovely to see you. I missed you.
I know, it's been a while, you're saying.
Do you want this to go over or this one?
That was probably easier.
So here's a funny thing from yesterday. A man came into the
wow.
dispensary. His wife had sent him in to get 2 cups of marijuana.
2 cups of marijuana, are you kidding me? It's so cute.
So
He brought his own cup.
Let's show that to the camera. 2 cups of marijuana, please. Here's a measuring cup. Fill it up. That's so fun.
And when they, I don't know, there was something, and they ended up coming back in, and we talked for a long time. But she claims we're saving her life with what we offer.
It's
right?
true,
And
though.
I'll tell you, that's a hard thing to think about when people, and she's not the only one that said that, right? And we know, and we can tell with the people that come through that it helps, and it's good.
It saves lives. It literally saves lives. And, they just came out with another report, the American Journal of Public Health. Is it? Or maybe it's JAMA, the Journal of no, it's American Journal of Public Health, issued another report out of Colorado showing a 6.5% decrease in opioid deaths correlated to the legalization of recreational marijuana.
Yes.
And that's on top of the 25% to 33% reduction in opioid deaths where medical marijuana is legal. And this is real deal science.
Well, our politicians thought that they could ignore all this stuff, right? They've been dealing with marijuana as an illegal substance all this time, being able to do and say whatever they wanted about it, right? And so they thought that they could do that with their legalization, is to do whatever they wanted and say whatever they want. But in the real world, that don't add up.
Right, and doctors
right?
know
And
it.
they're going to have to
and
prove it, and they're going to have to, right? So
what's
if you're
going to
gonna tell me
happen?
it's
Like
bad,
right
or you're
here.
going to tell me
It's
it
just
hurts me, I am going to take you to
Right.
court
Get
to
down
prove
there.
it.
No, it's the fact that they keep I was upset, like many people, that they were framing this as a health issue rather than a justice issue. Like a lot of people said, marijuana legalization is about the criminal justice system, and it should be going to the Justice Committee, not the Health Committee. Why is it going to the Health Committee? And it's because they want to frame it, happy 420, as they want to frame it as a health issue because they want to say it's bad for your health. But we know, and everybody knows, that cannabis is actually good for your health. It improves health. It reduces diabetes. It makes people breathe better. It's the tree of life, and we might be cannabis evangelists. That's what I'm describing myself as now, because sometimes I really do get preachy as we can because honestly, we know, like you said, when people
like
come
it.
in and they say you're saving their life, people don't lie about that. Nobody goes up to
There you go.
strangers or anybody and says, you're saving my life for no reason. Like, this is for real. They see it, they know it's true, and it's babies to seniors and everybody in between. Oh, and it makes me emotional because I can't believe how twisted legalization has become, and nobody can believe it. It's turned into not only more reefer madness, but they've got more cops promised, more money for raids, more money for law enforcement against legal marijuana, which makes no sense, and everybody across Canada is scratching their heads. It's a new crackdown because they need to define what's legal and what's not. What's legal and what's not. We need to make sure we demonstrate through punishment and guns and handcuffs and strip searches and everything. We need to demonstrate who's legal and who's not. And that's disgusting and upsetting. And I'm still really, really pissed off about having to go through what I know a lot of people go through, being violated in that way. It's just the fact people don't understand what happens to you when you get arrested for pot. And sometimes it's not as severe, and sometimes it's really severe. Like I hear from people all the time.
It depends on who you are and what your resources are, and
it's Russian roulette.
and what you can call on. I saw kids in pre-trial center. The kid had been there for fucking months and months and months because he had no money, he had no resources, he had nobody.
And
helping him.
pretrial is
Right.
maximum security
Yeah.
because you
one
aren't
else
guilty
has
yet.
arms.
You're
Just
innocent.
me and you.
That's what's most horrific is these are innocent people put into cages and locked up for cannabis, for a plant, not just a benign plant, but for a plant that, as we all know, is saving lives. But the government is always behind the market and the people and the normalization. Like it's already won. It's on TV. It's in movies. People, are discovering the truth more and more, and it's exciting. And again, I get a little antsy about those who don't respect the history and respect the fact that there's still suffering going on. But I have to be grateful that even if somebody's growing pot and selling it only to make money, at least they're providing more cannabis out to the market. So I'm trying to be at peace with a lot of people. And I even got unblocked by someone that I used to be in a Twitter war with because I saw them face to face. I went to that Grow Up conference.
Twitter war?
And online people really get divisive and fight and pick sides.
It's like a pillow fight.
It's ridiculous.
Have you watched the chat ever?
Oh man! And I'll tell you what,
They fight with themselves all the time.
and then I started realizing why are we always at war with other people? I mean, we're disagreeing with our own friends and family all the time. Why should we get so hung up over disagreeing with other people in the industry? Because on certain things, right? We can I keep using the analogy. Stephen Harper. Not a cool dude. Don't like that guy. But we both really like cats and kittens. So I'd save kittens with him. But other than that, we're not the same. So, you have to find people that are different from you and find the common ground and work on that common ground and put aside the rest. Otherwise, you're totally alone and that's not going to help anyone. So, we have other exciting news too, but you talk because I'm going to light this joint.
I'm going to spin the Chronic Susan.
I missed you. Jeez, it's been far too long.
Oh, yes.
Chronic Susan today is featuring hash.
Oh, beauty.
Big slab.
What a beaut.
Up against the Keefon Truckin jar.
I love that.
Keep on trucking. I like that.
Super
cool.
This keef is, as we do pre-rolls at the dispensary, there's always stock and leafage left over, and we screen that, and it turns into this spectacular keef.
Beauty.
And this is a slab of watermelon hash, dry pressed, kept for a year, and now it's been a year and since I got it. Have a bite.
It looks like fudge.
Oh,
Remember,
it's
that's
really
one
nice.
of the first things I ever said to you all when I came here in 2004, I think 5. I
What?
said, when I was seeing all these cannabis products for the first time, I remember thinking it was kind of like every form of cannabis looks like a dessert. So the hard hash looks like fudge, and the keef looks like sprinkly golden sugar, and the honey is like shatter and sappy sort of extracts, and even the flower, the cannabis flower with all those trichomes on it. I always remembered Willy Wonka book, how they described everything's made of candy, right? And they described how the grass on the ground grew in little blades that were like sugar that dissolved on the tongue, and they were all and that's how I imagine buds should melt in your mouth if you were able to eat them, and they were a dessert confection. It'd be just like this beautiful melted sugary coated delight. So anyway, this looks like I would eat that, and then I would get psychedelicized and speak to God and Goddess and whatever's out there, and then come back. But it looks like delicious fudge. So
It
that's
does.
Although I don't really like fudge very much. It's too
no
sweet.
real fudge is a little too sugary. I hear you.
Sweet. Oh, I can have the littlest nibble.
That's hilarious. But we're blessed here in this neck of the woods having
pass that to Alyssa, please?
spectacular marijuanas.
Oh, it's best in the world, maybe.
The outdoor harvest is coming in, and I hear wind of some spectacular time warp maybe coming around.
Time warp is classic.
That's a very classic BC strain. So looking forward to that. We've had some of the best outdoor weed I've ever seen this year.
Wow. Oh, great. Because it was so dry. It was such a hot, dry summer. Is that why?
It was hot and dry.
So those UV rays came shining down and bulked
They
up those
sure
trichomes?
have, yeah.
Is that nonsense that I'm saying? Or is
Nope,
that...
that's
Oh, cool.
exactly right.
See, I know about pot.
Oh, yeah, we'll help you figure it all out. Government of Canada, if you'd give us a call, we could figure it out for you by the end of the day.
They keep talking about, we're not going to get rid of the black market. We don't know how to...
My boobs is like the center of the conversation in the chat.
Of course.
So weird.
Because look they're like beauty. Sorry, is that
They
sexual
are
harassment?
beautiful. Like, listen to Jody and listen to freaking marijuana
It's
man.
like, no, what they're
How do you
seeing
know
is...
We're talking about making pillows of my boobs.
No, it's beautiful audio with beautiful visuals. It's like
How do
a
you know
combination.
it's yours?
They say my name.
They're saying your name, okay, wow. Because I've...
Sometimes I wonder, are you talking about me? You talking about Greg? You talking about just kidding?
well, I have been working out. So,
Oh, yes.
Yes.
No.
Well, I can see it through the
muscles.
shirt.
Lost 2 grams.
Oh, well,
And,
that's pretty good.
Yeah, but I went
I've
back.
lost 2 grams on the train before.
Went back to the gym and found them.
Yes. See? Oh, we went for the
That
same
cracked
joke. We're so
Alyssa.
good.
Yeah.
We're so good.
And that cracked Alyssa up twice. Same joke. Alyssa and I just sit here and write jokes ahead of the show, right?
And then check them off the list one by one as we get through them. Sweet, we hit that one.
But yeah, things are going along really well. There's fun in the air all the time. We're having an absolute blast down at the dispensary.
Where's that dispensary?
At 3175 West Broadway in Vancouver, right
Nice.
next to the barber shop.
Cool. I'm not promoting or endorsing it in any way,
Trimming
but
a
it sounds cool.
And then a massage next door to that.
Does anybody want sweet?
Beautiful joint.
We love our neighborhood, and I think they love us too.
I think so.
And we got the best crew. Hey, Alyssa? Like, wow. I'm just blown away by how good everybody is and how nicely everybody fits together. Karina, she was just beside herself yesterday, thanking me for, she said, how do you hire these people? It's unbelievable, right? And it's true, right? Like, they just walk in and it's the right time. You know, the one girl, Vanessa, she walked in and was standing there looking kind of sheepish with papers in her hand behind customers. And I finally got to her and I said, oh, so you got papers in your hand? I said, what's that about? She said, I want to work here. And she was the only one that ever said that. Instead of saying, hey, I'd like to drop off a resume, maybe you're looking, blah, blah, blah. But she stood there and said, I want to work here. And I said, then I want you to work here. And she's fabulous.
Awesome.
That's awesome. It's good to go with your gut.
Good energy you always bring. You've always known how to do that too. It's
And the latest girl that we've hired, Tara, some time ago, a young lady came in and gave me her resume. And I was interested in hiring her, and I called her, and I could never get an answer. And gone. But I kept seeing her, or who I thought was her, in the neighborhood. But I wasn't confident enough to yell out her name because I didn't know if it was exactly her.
Just start reading out her freaking resume to her.
So
Is this you?
then a couple weeks ago, Tara came into the shop, and I finally said, did you give me a resume some time ago about working here? And she said, no. And I said, well, do you need a job?
Oh, I love it.
it works out. That's perfect.
Yeah.
No, it's such a
And,
great spot.
Oh, it was wonderful fun. And it turns out she worked in the shop in the store that it was before.
The tea shop.
That's pretty cool.
The tea
That's so
shop.
fun.
So she knows
Meant
the
to
spot.
be. It was
Yeah,
meant to be that way.
absolutely. So it's magic for us, and I don't know, works out fun. I like it. And I live real close.
There's some interesting news about cannabis culture that some people might be aware of and some people might not. But so the Supreme Court of Canada is hearing a case. So this is how beer might save cannabis in Canada. So interesting thing here. All right.
Careful, drunks can't be trusted though. They can watch out.
So in Canada we have provinces and there are borders, but not like guarded borders, just borders. But alcohol, you can't really move it between provinces. Like the governments often control the selling and wholesale and buying and control it. So a lot of people complain that you can't get a good foreign wine in BC, or you can't get Ontario wines in BC, or all over the country people can't exchange alcohol or take it across the border. So I guess this guy named Como is his last name, drove across the provincial border with some beer and I believe a couple bottles of whiskey or something, and got pulled over and charged and ticketed for violating the law. So went to court, and the judge said, you know what? There's a charter, constitutional section that says the government isn't allowed to stop the movement of goods throughout the country. Any goods. So this guy had a judge rule in his favor saying, hey, you know what? The governments of these provinces and the government of Canada can't fine you and charge you. Your charter rights are being violated if you can't take beer from one province to the next. So the attorneys generals of all the provinces are like, no, we're appealing that decision and we're going to take it. So they're going to the Supreme Court of Canada, where they're going to argue whether the government can have a monopoly over the sale of alcohol. So a few months ago, Mark was contacted by the Canadian Constitutional Foundation, who said, would you please help us on this case? It's one little guy named Como against all the attorneys generals and the government might of Canada, and he has a really strong case, so could you please help us somehow? And we went to our lawyers and said, can we intervene in this case? You're allowed to be an intervener if you think this case will affect you. So we said, could we apply and say that this would affect the cannabis industry that's coming under legalization? And at first our lawyers said, no, not really. But then the Ontario government announced their monopoly, saying we're going to be the only ones selling pot. Nobody else can. We're going to have our own stores. We're going to do it all ourselves. And they announced a monopoly on cannabis. And then our lawyers were like, oh boy, that's not good for dispensaries or craft industry or licensed producers or mail order marijuana or medical marijuana or anybody. So we applied to the Supreme Court of Canada to intervene on this case. And the day I testified at the House of Commons with Mark for the Health Committee for Bill C-45, the Cannabis Act, that morning we rushed to a legal office for right-making deadline, signed the paperwork of an affidavit on, it's me, Jody Emery, doing cannabis culture on behalf of, I think, over 30 other dispensary owners and representing all licensed producers and cannabis industry people across this country. Wow. So instead of my own little legal battle that, over the pot shops, having to drag out for 5 years and $500,000 plus, I'm going straight to the Supreme Court. It's like snakes and ladders, right up to the top. I got the ladder to the top right away. They accepted our application. So with Kirk Tusaw and cannabis culture, we're going to be at the Supreme Court of Canada in December, like 2 months from now, less than 2 months, arguing for cannabis to be sold freely between provinces by everybody as a product that we can all take part in. So that's for everyone, no matter who they are in the pot industry. So wish us luck. We might need some help fundraising because it is a legal challenge, but we'll post stuff on the website, of course, letting people know more. So that's exciting news. And thank you to Kirk Tusaw, Jack Lloyd of Tusaw Law, incredible, best cannabis lawyers in the country, with John Conway, of course, no doubt.
Well, we're thrilled for that opportunity. Yeah, it's an interesting little challenge that's going on. So we'll see how that turns out. And I think they can't ignore their booze, right? If they if they overturn cannabis part of it, right? Ignore that, then they can't really do. They have to do it with the booze, but they won't, right? Because everybody loves booze, and they'll do anything to get it, and they'll relax any law that they can. So we're gonna just get swept up in their drunkenness. It'll be wonderful, right?
Booze lubricate the way for cannabis.
That's right. Come on, I'm buying another round. Who wants to legalize?
We need to lower inhibitions. Oh, man.
So, yeah, that's a very interesting thing. So, yeah, I don't know. last weekend or the other weekend in Saskatoon, I made a little speech, and in that speech I talked about how, and coincidentally enough, I'm wearing this shirt that says "Overgrow the government." Right, that has been our motto all along, was to get so much marijuana out there that they could never stop it.
Yeah. Mission accomplished.
That a lot of that went to Colorado, and that went to Washington and Oregon and Alaska, and all these places that are legalizing marijuana now got the genetics from us.
How do you feel knowing like your seeds that you mailed yourself and like worked on, like helped actually, think of all the lives saved so far. Hero, marijuana man.
I can't really think of it that way. It's too overwhelming, but
it's true, right?
Think about it a little bit from time to time. But, one time in Australia, we were in Byron Bay or whatever, and a kid actually came running up to me with a bud in his hand. He says, "Man," he said, "this is Jordan of the Islands blueberry hash plant that I grew right over there." He said,
nice.
What?
That's a good strain too, and that's
Really cool. I'm like,
that was quite remarkable, and it kind of
Someone's in the fishbowl.
sunk into me. Oh, yeah. Look, we got
full camera.
there's fishbowl.
He's kind of a shy fish, but oh no, there he's waving to us.
Swimming away.
Don't knock on the glass, so you'll scare him.
In
I know, right?
in the lounge, at
I wonder
Cannabis
if he'll
Culture
follow my
Lounge.
finger.
So yeah, everything. There, he's gone back into the reef. He's gone back down into the reef.
There you go.
But I was going to say that, we did a pretty good job overgrowing the government, and that, as you said, is kind of why we're in the position that we are today of legalization, is because they couldn't overcome all the marijuana there was. And now it seems like our job is to outsell them.
Yeah.
Now we got to outsell the government.
Oh well, they can't even come close. Like they can't. I mean, they keep talking about how they know that their own laws won't get rid of the black market because they need to guarantee there's still something for the law enforcement side of things to go after, because that's many, many hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah,
and
that's the saddest part about the whole
it's
thing.
so true that it's just they're going to keep going after people for pot no matter how much we grow it or sell it or do whatever with it. And that's just so unfair and wrong. But again, at least there's more and more cannabis. Like they can't put it away now. And no matter what the government does, we've always had to do legal challenges anyway. We've always had to suffer to win. That's a sad truth. Like, if only it weren't that way.
They're used to abusing us too, right?
Lies and stigma and so much.
Yeah, but it's just sad. I don't know. We'll unravel it all as we always do. Have to. We shouldn't have to. This is our government, for God's sakes. They're supposed to be doing what the people want, not whatever the fuck they want. Who's Kathleen Wynne saying that I'm going to take over the marijuana industry in Ontario? Fuck you. You're not hired for that purpose. Right? She's a drunk. She's all about booze. She's behind the whole booze industry out there and is a real champion for it, actually. But fuck you. You don't get that choice. Really? I don't think.
No,
What about
people
that
won't
cop
test them.
that killed somebody, and then they realized that there was alcohol in his breath? He tested positive for alcohol, and his story is that he went home and had a shot because he was so
right.
stressed out that he hit
From
and
that
killed this
car
person.
accident, he hit someone
Like,
with his car.
Really?
I
and this
remember
person
that.
is free to this day, walking around right now as we fucking
Yeah.
speak. Like, are you fucking kidding me? That's bullshit.
No, they walk away doing
Absolute
so much.
Well,
bullshit.
I hope somewhere along the line that somebody is able to unravel this and show the Canadian public how political and how single-minded the police have been behind the prohibition of cannabis.
Oh, the
Right.
fact that Bill Blair, narc police chief, G20 overseer, like this guy was put in charge of legalization. If you want to ask why legalization is so effed up,
Yeah,
look at who
it's
they
because
put in
of him.
charge
Yeah, no
of it.
kidding.
Like, but how did he get in there? I mean, I know he suddenly ran for the Liberals and then won and then was put in charge of the legalization
Yep.
file with what credentials? That he busted a lot of people for pot, so that made him an
Yeah.
expert on it? No, it's offensive and upsetting. And this is what our job is for the next year, is to keep reminding people. And to our benefit and to a lot of people's detriment, a number of peaceful Canadians are going to get busted and dragged through the
Continue
court
today.
system for months and months and months to come. And when July 1st happens and everyone's like, oh, it's legal, and it's
The government's gonna
not,
say no.
and people keep getting arrested, and there's no pot shops, and there's still raids on the only places that sell it, like, people are going to say, wait a minute, what the what? And then they're going to realize they were lied to.
They better not in front of the
I
kids.
love that.
Can't be saying
That
those
should be
kind
your
of
new
words.
hashtag
What the
on
what?
Twitter and Instagram.
Oh, man.
What the
Trying
what?
to be clean here, you know.
Yeah. I love it.
Yes, it's a
Better.
complicated
Better.
mess. Legalization's way more complicated than it used to be.
Oh, yeah.
But,
It was so much easier when we said, you should legalize it, and then we had to just explain why, and now it's like,
no.
oh.
And then we could do whatever we wanted, right? Because no. Well,
Yeah. But
it'll
there's
be
still,
interesting.
There's interesting opportunities ahead. Like every time I wonder, I think, where was I 1 year ago today? Like in my life, all along the way, I just go, okay, what was life like 1 year ago today?
Kind
And
of
did
memory of you got?
it was totally different. All I know is it was very different. And so,
Always is.
right.
Isn't
And
it
so no
crazy?
matter what you plan for, it's like, don't even make plans because you're just going to be disappointed and things will change. So if you're just open to whatever, it's all an adventure. And boy, has it been an adventure. I mean, this time last year, what is it, October?
Yeah.
We were about to go out for the opening of the Hamilton Cannabis Culture, the first other lounge store. We had all sorts of interesting things going on. It was all exciting. Little did I know we were being followed by creepy cops, but that's what happens.
I had no plans of opening a dispensary.
Right?
1 year
And you
ago.
never know when things happen or how or the random
When are they gonna
ways.
get to play Jody in like the legendary movie of like, Mark and Jody?
Oh, no. It'll be a few more years
let's
before
think,
the
let's
story's
think.
done. Mark was always like, Anne Hathaway. And I'm thinking, no, by the time my story's done, she's going to be as
very
old as
pretty.
she
I
is
like
as old
that.
as I am, I'm pretty sure, right? No, I don't know about that sort of stuff. I think there's
she
enough
likes to get
there's enough news
stoned.
clips about me. I think.
Somebody not nearly good enough.
And
will
well,
play you.
the thing is, I'm kind of, we're all tired. This is
I've had the most tired week this week. I'm so off this week. It's unreal.
It's very rainy outside. It's a very
crazy.
heavy low pressure. I prefer the high pressure. It's sunny, disposition wise and weather wise.
And like I said, like the city is literally flooding right now.
Yeah, there's a
which is strange because I've
monsoon.
experienced like rain like this before, and it didn't, drown out everybody. And I was driving here, and there were cars with like almost their entire hood.
It's the
underwater.
leaves. The leaves are off the trees, and then they block the drains, and then there's the flooding. It's intense
Tis
weather
the
everywhere.
season.
Very crazy.
Yeah. What's this beautiful scene?
My house
Oh, lovely couch.
got it yesterday.
Oh, that's
Hey, I
so
heard you got a new
gorgeous.
bathtub.
Man, Marijuana Man has the best couch. Marijuana Man's couch is better than your couch, everybody.
It's quite spectacular.
Your bathtub?
It looks comfortable too.
Well, it's an old-fashioned bathtub, but it got relined, so it's brand new.
Oh, reline a tub. Never knew such a thing.
Here's my new couch.
Looks
I love having baths.
beautiful.
A new bathtub is pimpin'.
Yeah, I searched for a green couch online, and that came up.
Oh, L-shaped couches are the best
And
too.
it's
I like the style.
I've never seen a more beautiful couch, and I
It's
had
so
to have it.
perfect.
So
And the price was right?
turned out that they were right here in Vancouver.
Right on.
And even the guys who delivered it yesterday, like tough delivery type guys, went, "Wow, that looks spectacular in here."
Oh man, I'm jealous.
He went, "Holy shit, that feels really good."
That's a really, really nice couch. You guys can't appreciate it not seeing this close up.
Slept on it.
Can I see?
Oh, beauty. Look at that.
Because she wants
And
to see.
one of the reasons why
Wow.
Right? Look how nice and soft that looks.
it's velvet.
Oh,
And one of the reasons I had to have it
better.
is the color is
Green.
called grass green.
Oh, for crying
Oh,
out loud.
it's beautiful.
What is this? Is
I
this
can't
some
ex-
sort of
What is this?
Well, I
a fucking
can't.
joke? What is
What's
that?
going
Prank?
on?
Well,
Oh my goodness.
you can't ignore that stuff, right? Like if you ignore those signs, you won't get any more chances,
Here you go.
right?
Don't ignore
So
the
the world says, "Hey, this is the couch." You go, "Okay, thanks.
Grab it.
See ya."
Right.
So I'm thrilled. But now, see this table here is the original table from Pot TV.
Oh my goodness.
And was my
gracious.
desk down in the basement for years.
Oh, beauty.
Yeah, a nice
Good
little
history here.
keepsake.
Oh,
But
man.
it got way big since that couch arrived.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Happy
It's
home.
been a wildly busy week for me, too.
No doubt.
Fucking furnace. People, it's a crazy world. I don't get it. Furnace hasn't worked. Had to get the guy over quite a few times. They replaced 2 different parts. Finally, they replaced the final part the other day, and there's a switch on the ceiling. So the guy's, he's saying, I don't even know what this is. Doesn't do anything, right?
Okay.
So he gets the furnace fired up, and everything's good, and off he goes. And the next day, it won't fire up again. And the pilot's lit, and I have no idea, so I'm phoning them, and they're not coming. It's fucking getting a little cold. But this morning I'm down there, we're going past to the laundry, and I look at that switch, and I'm going, I'm just going to hit it. Hit the switch, furnace fires up, and away
So
we
you
go.
left it off.
Gracias.
I don't think it does anything, it says.
Funny. But it is cold, though. They
It
said
is a
felt
little
like
nippy.
6 degrees this morning. That's chilly.
Here
And
in
Toronto all
Vancouver, it's
smug
6.
with their sunny 22 degrees. Yeah, I see you on Instagram.
Oh, is that right? Still
Everywhere I
warm
go,
buckies.
this other place gets some better weather. What's going on?
Get out of here.
Like, I took
my
all the
goodness.
rain to Toronto.
When are you
I'm
going
sorry. On the 4th
The
of November, I
forecast.
promise you it's going to get nice after that.
Aww.
No, it's good though. This is the rainforest. Again, silver lining, water is life. And without water, this place would not be a rainforest. And after
It
all
wouldn't
that
be so
drought,
green, that's for damn
yeah,
sure.
and green's the best color. Green is just the greatest.
It is the
Yeah,
best.
green is the color of life. That's what I think.
yeah.
Anyway. I don't know. Seems like there's a lot of green here. Like 1, 2,
Yeah.
3, 4,
Yeah.
5,
Yep. 6.
6, 7. And it's all the same green, by the way, almost. It's all in the same kind of zone. Oh, 8. There's another one. I spy with my
Yeah,
little eye. And
interesting.
your glasses, 9. And your pants, 10. 10 green things.
Huh.
Sesame Street. Are you guys someone going to do like the... who's
Today's
the
show
count
is
guy?
brought to you by 10.
The number 10.
That's what I'm doing.
Right? Sesame Street puppet comes out. Who is that guy? Who Countula? What's his
The
The
count.
Count. Oh.
One.
Which makes so
green.
much
1,
sense.
2.
He's the count that counts. How
Yeah.
brilliant. Love it. Love a good pun.
Simple way. Sesame Street. You damn near think it was for kids.
Oh, man.
When it first came on the air, I was in high school. And we used to skip school, go smoke weed and watch Sesame Street. Because it was so different. And it had celebrities on it. And it seemed more to us like it was for us, not little kids.
Well, maybe because maybe things weren't as infantilized then. Is that the word? Like,
Well, it's just quite revolutionary in their presentation and color.
was it Jim
and
Henson?
Jim Henson.
Muppets. Yeah.
We used to see
Classic.
those puppets or Muppets on variety shows before that. The Jim Henson Muppets. And they'd come out and do a sketch
Yes,
or whatever.
with the old guys sitting up on the theater balcony. Who are they? Making fun of people all the time.
I'm lost.
What is the Muppets is kind of older. How old? I'm 32, so I was born in 85. I don't know exactly what TV was big back then, but I definitely remember the Muppets.
Nothing happened in 85.
Nothing at all. It was the most quiet year. We were just waiting.
Nothing at all. Just nothing.
No.
No, it was a wasteland.
Just
Yeah, it was.
of stuff in 85.
Ghost town, man.
Yeah, very confusing time.
Okay, tell me what was going on in January 1985? A Madonna song was top of the charts. Is something.
Nothing.
It was cold,
Cold
and rainy.
That was it. That went on for the whole
Story of our life.
for the whole year.
Oh.
In '86 came along, and Expo was here.
And I was here. I was here as a little 1-year-old. That's yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
You lived
for
in
real. I have a
Vancouver?
picture because my older sister Laura. There's an old photo of them next to a vehicle with the word Laura on the license plate or something. It was all like colorful and stuff. Anyway, it's an old photo, and so I remember that one vividly. My mom said she took me then, and she's pregnant with my sister. So I don't remember anything, of course. I was just a wee little tot. But that was probably my first time in Vancouver, and here we are now. And back.
Well, I was a full-grown adult.
That's right.
Living in Vancouver.
Isn't it weird when you get those little memories?
Yes, flashback.
Yeah.
Reminiscing.
I have no memory of
No,
80s,
it's all a
no.
blur.
Yeah.
Expo 86. Hello.
Yeah, the only thing I remember about Expo 86 is I got to look up Princess Diana's dress.
Oh my goodness, was she here?
Yes.
Oh wow, royalty in
Hence,
town.
me being able to look up her dress.
Well, she already showed it off with that sheer skirt, in that photo or whatever. Remember? Scandalous.
Well, she was stepping out of a limo.
Ah.
And I had to, there was a crowd of people lining this thing, and I had, of course, to bend over to see.
Look at she's coming out. Accidental, but you know.
Oh, whoops.
Accidental.
Yeah, 86. That was a wasteland. and
Jeez, I wasn't
stuff,
even
too.
thought about then.
Really?
Yeah.
What year were you born?
I was born in 1990.
Wow, 90 baby.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
I know, I'm a baby.
90
Shut up.
babies. Those are awesome. Right?
I didn't think anybody was born after in the 80s.
I stopped. It's all just people stuck in the infant stage.
Well, the 80s were so bad. I thought people would have just given up.
Because the crash.
Oh my
like,
God.
do you mean that though? Really?
Let's
like,
just
is
give
it-
up on life.
were
Stop
they-
having babies altogether.
Were the 80s that bad? Were they not such a good
They
time?
were a transitional time.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I'm
The
kind of
fashion was
making
terrible.
it up.
But
Probably.
Derp,
Fashion
derp,
was bad,
derp.
music was bad. I was
Yeah.
very confused. The 60s and 70s rocked, right?
Yeah.
But then as you got
Wait a
closer
minute.
into the 80s, they didn't know what to do anymore, and stuff got crazy,
got all weird.
got weird.
Got all weird.
But then they sorted it out when Kush Queen was born in 1990.
The 90s saved us.
Yes.
March 3rd, 1990 was the best day that ever happened because I was born.
Brought in the revolution.
That's
Said
right.
Goodbye to the 80s. Hello to the 90s.
Hello to the 90s.
But oddly enough, March is not your favorite month.
Oh,
No, October is.
there you go.
Yeah.
We established
Good
that.
listening, Greg. Good listening.
Month. A good month.
Well, it's my mom's birthday is in October. So that's special to me.
Yeah.
And then Halloween. I just love that it's spooky. I love fall. I don't love the flooding, but I love the leaves falling.
Oh, yes.
and
It is ash,
I like,
it's not-
I
So
just.
cozy weather.
Oh, it's so
It's
just,
fun.
and it's not like shitty winter yet.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's good, you know?
You still get some nice days of sun on your
Supposed to be
skin.
nice.
Oh,
You're
and
all
it's
bundled
so
up. and
nice with
cozy.
a just, scarfy.
Sweater season, as they say, I guess.
Yeah, I love it. So good.
You're not allowed to smoke
Well, I'm
good
just
weed.
kidding. Well, we don't know about that. You know, what is the difference between medicine? Like what on
Well, I had a
What? I missed it. What?
I'm just like this. Maybe I've been passing around my medicine to everybody else.
Well, we're all using it as medicine, though.
right.
I think people that aren't even using it as medicine are using it as medicine. They just don't know it.
I don't remember.
we don't know. It's just
You just
Yeah.
don't realize
power.
how it's affecting you medicinally and in a good way.
we're breathing
That's all.
in the same air anyway. Like as they exhale, I'm inhaling. So there's actually no difference when because that smoke has already been around and in other
That's
people. So
right.
whether
So
I'm
there's no accounting
In
for
other
that.
people?
There's no way to
It's like-
account for that.
That sounded
In
so
Your Honor.
intense, Jody. You're hilarious.
it's in me. I can't.
That was
I can't
great.
deny it. If I can't.
What is in you is in
I can't
me.
avoid it, so I may as well just, if it's already being breathed in, breathe in a little harder and closer
Oh
to
my
the
God, I
joint.
missed you.
Well, I had a young
That's great.
fellow in the shop the other day, stood back and looked at all the weed and went.
Does that mean you're going to be here for the Halloween party? I love Halloween.
Oh, me too, though. It is
Oh,
one
I'm
of my
so
favorite.
excited.
It is the favorite. I remember being a kid in school and the library back before any screens existed, and you had to rent books from the library. Did you say
Before
rent or
any
lease?
screens existed?
Before the screens, remember?
The
Don't
what?
you remember
Oh,
before the screens?
Scream?
That's like, there's A, D, and B, C, and then there's going to be like BS for before screen and AS for after screens. The world changed. The whole world changed once these devices.
Screens.
Almost screams.
I'm like, what? I'm lost
about it,
even.
though.
The
Think
screens
about it.
became self-aware, and they went, "Hey, we're screens."
But you guys, for real, like consider
nothing we
how
can do.
how many of you had to go and pull open a drawer and look for that Dewey Decimal System number related to a book because you had a school assignment you needed to write about India, and so you had to somehow find
A handful
books
of
about
nerds.
India.
Even
It
that
was
you know
with
about
these
that.
numbers. See, nobody even knows. So like that's a different world, and we grew up in that world. And when I went to when it was the
I
seasons.
just didn't go to the library. It was way too complicated.
But like how? Okay, you could answer this for me maybe. But like, do you have holidays become more obvious and commercialized and over decorated more recently as opposed to long ago?
Holidays?
Like now that it's Halloween, there's
Oh my
Halloween
God,
stuff
yes.
everywhere and digitally and screens and
Yeah.
everything is combined to be like
But it
constant
doesn't.
at you.
It means less.
It means less.
It's
Whereas,
just another thing on the screen.
right, when you're
Next.
a kid with a book at a library about Halloween and you have these stories and you have these characters, and every year when that season came around, you went back to the library and you found the same books and you'd read them again and then you put them on the shelf till next season. That's just a weird memory I had. Sorry, maybe I'm a little high from being in this room, but that was like, I was just back there for a
Oh
second.
my God, what was that?
It's the
Ooh,
ghost.
creepy.
At the glass.
I love it. I love
What a
it.
sound that was.
I'm just like, I'm gonna go find out what it was.
A black cat.
Yeah.
With a little witch hat.
White, black, white
Named
cat.
Tippy. Named Tippy.
Tippy.
Look what
More
Courtney
green.
did to my opal.
Oh, beautiful. Courtney made it. Holy smokes.
I know, isn't it gorgeous?
impressive. You know, I love that she's like,
Hi.
hello. I love that. I love that she's done these beautiful
Get her to come in here.
art things. Courtney used to work here, and she's done
Melissa, that was
all these
amazing.
Beautiful stones with wire wrapping, and super talented.
That opal
That's
James
beautiful.
gave me. James Hunter.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you? So good. Should we stand out, squeeze out to get a hug? I think
Come on in
so.
here.
I'm gonna squeeze out.
I got so much good stuff.
So how are you?
Very well. How have you
Yeah, I've been great, you know, just hanging out, chilling.
I was so annoyed.
Oh, is it because you were so far away from me?
That too.
Yeah, I know.
In between
It's okay.
today.
I know, but you know what? It's kind of nice having a day off
Another
over here.
woman has come between.
I just gotta sit here, and everyone's just chilling.
chilling.
It's good. I like it.
Chilling out, maxing max, and all cool.
Yeah. Drinking my coffee.
Oh, nice. Cold though through a straw, right? No, hot through a
Does it
straw.
feel raining really hard?
Medium temperature through a straw. Yeah.
It's raining.
Warm, but I do drink it hot through a straw. But
Is it
that's probably not
possible
the
to
greatest
drink?
idea.
I was told to never drink a hot liquid through a straw, and I never did it because I wondered what it would do to you.
What?
I assumed it would like be some sort of
told
like.
you that?
I think it
Isn't there some
melts the
kind of
plastic
rule?
and it releases something that's probably not good
Oh
for
no!
you.
I thought
But
it was more about like you get this, like it concentrates the heat somehow, and like it's like a laser beam of heat.
I have honestly, I have no idea.
Anyone in the chat know
But
the
like,
answer to
if you
that?
think
Where
about
that
it, even
comes
without
from?
my straw, this is plastic, and I would be drinking
You're
it
still
through
sipping
that.
through a
So
hole.
I'm still sipping through a hole
Okay,
of plastic,
there you go.
right?
So straws and hot liquids are okay
It's still
then.
a fucking
If the
hole.
liquid's really hot and you suck it through a straw, the liquid will be condensed and become really, really hot.
Is that's the truth, right? Yes.
I would have to suspect
think-
that would be the case because I'd never do it.
I
You're
th-
right. Yeah,
What happened?
you're right to have
What
never done it.
happened?
Don't
What
drink hot liquid.
happened?
I can't hear anything over there.
Oh, I can't hear anything anywhere
I
anymore.
know, right? I'm like, what's going on?
No, we just determined that you were wrong, Kush Queen, and you know we should just move on.
Oh my god! About what?
I don't even remember now.
Nothing. Nothing at all.
Quite a few
Nothing at
things. No.
all. You're fun.
Nothing.
What? What is it? Is October not the greatest month?
It is
Well, it's split. It's split for me,
decent.
but
Decent.
I guess we can.
I don't have a favorite
I was
month.
just thinking. I don't think I have a favorite month each.
Depends on what happens each month.
True.
Come on.
And I can't remember what has happened each month, especially during the 80s.
Yeah, that was not worth remembering. As you said, not
For
good
that
times.
That one day at Expo.
The one expo day was good. Oh.
So what are you gonna do now? Are you gonna be around for a few weeks and
I'm
run
here.
the show? And
Well, I'm back to check in on things, and legalization activism always meant we want to be legal. So when they keep saying, "Oh, the black market's going to exist, and you're the black market, and you're the criminals, and I'm like, well, let me give you a solution about how to fix that. Like, how about you just stop criminalizing us, and then we won't be criminals, and then we won't have a black market, and
Yeah.
please remove from us this black market label, please. And since you're the only ones who can do it, it's kind of the equivalent of a bully taking your fist and punching your face with it and being like, stop hitting yourself, stop hitting. It's like, yeah, but you're the one doing it. You're the one like not letting us get legal. You're forcing us to exist as a black market, and you're forcing us to suffer guns and handcuffs and jail cells and paddy wagons because you won't let us be legal. God damn it, just let us be legal already. It's infuriating, and I get really upset about that because it seems so simple, and it's so frustrating that, like, I know peaceful people are getting screwed over. I just got an email today from a chartered professional accountant, someone who travels to the U.S. back and forth, financial expert, got busted at a roadside pullover for a little bit of personal possession, and they don't want to let it disappear. They want it to be not a summary conviction or the other one. They want the one where it'll stick, and it'll F with your life. I'm not swearing. I guess I can swear. It'll fuck with your life if you get this sort of record. And he'll not...
What the what?
What the what?
Thank you.
And this person is going to lose their job abilities. They can't travel, and they don't want to settle for that sort of record. Just like I don't want to settle for a record either, but I guess I'm going to get one, and that's nonsense. And that's why even if they like legalize pot and let us have stores and all that stuff, it's not over until people have no more records. Like, pardons for everybody. As long as you didn't have a gun or violence or hurt anybody else, it doesn't matter what you did with pot. You get to go free, no more record, amnesty, and travel between the countries too. So like,
Absolutely, yes.
I don't want to be doing that when I'm 50 or 60 or whatever. That's only 20 years though, and it's been 13 years, and I don't know how long it takes for things to change, and I don't know how bad it might get. Like, I hope it gets better. It always gets better in some ways, but I really fear the pendulum swinging. It always goes back and forth, and then people get hit either way. And so I just don't want any more people to get hurt, and they're still getting hurt. So that's work for activism. So that's what's ahead, is I got to get back to lobbying and advocacy and maybe running for office again. Yeah. And that's the work. That's the work that we got to do, is keep agitating, because people are forgetting all about the arrests and people still getting busted and losing their job and having to piss in a goddamn cup so they don't lose their job. And then if they fail that test, they lose their job, not because they're incompetent or impaired on the workplace. It's only because they smoked a joint with their friends 3 weeks ago and didn't buy a drink to mask their urine. Like, it's nonsense that people are still suffering this way. It drives me nuts. So as everyone else does the business,
I'm hoping that a lot of this will end upon legalization, because then it becomes... Everyone who tries marijuana likes it. There's very few who don't, right? And there's very few who then don't see the pure benefit of this substance, no matter what, right? It does not hurt you. It helps you, and it's never hurt anyone, no matter how it's been prepared. There is no reason to be alarmed. There is no reason to be fearful of this substance. Therefore, there is no reason to have a lot of rules around it, because it's not a fearful thing. But this is why they present it so, because they want to have lots of rules around it. And that's the only reason. And that's fucked. Fuck off. We did not put you in these positions to do that.
Let us be free.
Not over a substance that is not the way that you say it is.
And they're lying about it, and they don't care. And the hypocrisy that alcohol and opioids and everything else that causes devastation, all that's going on, and yet they have the nerve to keep talking about pot being a crisis this way and that way. And they're lying about all the driving fears. They're lying about all the teenage fears. They're lying about all this like dangerous dispensary weed. It's just nonstop bullshit. It wasn't happening 2 years ago. Like, I remember it was a relatively sensible time, but now the nonsense has come back after a concerted effort, if that's the right word, for the government to keep misinforming people.
They're still making stoners look like idiots in like TV shows and movies and stuff. Like, and And I know it's just TV and stuff, but like more than half the world watches that. And they, they're just like, oh, look, a bunch of fucking stoners. And it's just like,
The stigma that's
like it's just so fucking
People get
stupid.
disowned
Like
by
still
families.
2017 and we're talking about legalization, yet we're still looking at people who smoke cannabis as like impaired.
Yeah.
Which we're not at all. Like we sit here and get stoned every fucking show every week for fucking how many years, and like we don't sit here and start acting like buffoons, and start
pay
eating our own
attention.
arms and doing crazy fucking shit. It's just stupid.
It doesn't make you different than
No.
yourself in a bad way. Like it doesn't impair your
No, and if
judgment.
people get
You don't-
lazy when they smoke weed, they're probably lazy people already. Like
There's a lot of lazy people who don't smoke weed. A lot of them.
absolutely, absolutely.
It's true.
I don't know. I just don't like the whole like.
Except during the 80s.
Yeah.
A lot of bad weed during the 80s, too, as I remember now. Yeah. Oh.
The crackdown was going on. The war on drugs, right? Wasn't that war on drugs time? Was Nixon the guy then, or
I honestly
Reagan?
don't
I don't even
remember any
know.
of
It
it.
doesn't matter.
I've,
Same old bullshit all the time.
yeah.
Government oppressing people and taking away our free choice. What else is new? But that's why, you gotta keep engaging with
Looks
the
like two
politics.
boobs.
So we'll see where that
Fortunately.
It's exasperating.
But I gotta say that I love reggae music. That's all. Like we play it at home, play it at the office or at the shop, and the thing I like about it so much is the beat. No, it is a very danceable type of music and uplifting, no matter what they're talking about. And every once in a while, you say the word marijuana, or they say the word Cali or ganja or legalize, and you go, wow, like here's a whole genre of music that completely fits my life. And my life doesn't exist because of that music. We're a separate entity of cannabis community and cannabis culture, but yet we got our own fucking music. It is so cool. No other activists have a genre of music.
It's part of the culture, you're right. It's part of the
Very
culture is
true.
having music. And that's something that people all over the world know. And you find the reggae, you can find the ganja.
you'll hear
It's-
Bob Marley, there'll be weed
And
around somewhere.
even as a kid, I remember, like, in the summer, that's when parents and stuff would usually play reggae music because it's vacation time, it's hot and sunny, so you'd hear it more than in the winter. But it made you feel good. And on
Yeah.
a rainy day or a cloudy day or in the middle of winter, put on some reggae and you're going to feel better. Or irie, I guess.
Something about it.
Something about it.
Just a tip.
I think
For
it's.
you
I think it's definitely the
people.
beat.
Huh?
I think it's definitely the beat.
Well, they say in the history books that I found by using the Dewey Decimal System in the library one day, prior to the advent of screens,
Before screen.
Before the screens. Oh my
battle
goodness.
for the world before screens. It's the prequel.
I love it.
Paper
to
versus screens.
screens.
Paper versus screens.
Well, we've certainly surpassed our hour of entertainment.
Oh dear, sorry by a
right.
whole 10 minutes. Although it's 5
By a
minutes
whole
late,
10 minutes.
so it's only 5 minutes longer.
Well, we start at 4:06.
Ah, that's always the time.
We found that we could never ever start right at 4, so we moved it to 4:06.
There you go. May as well be on time if
And
you're
we
going to
do
be late all the
We're doing
time.
much better at 4:06. Somehow we're able to be ready at 4:06.
Oh my goodness.
I do not look forward to going back out
Oh,
into
no.
that
Maybe it's
treacherous rain.
Maybe it's nice though. Maybe
Oh yeah, the sun's out. I wouldn't even fucking surprised.
You know what?
Going
All
right
thing,
for the
isn't it like
weather report.
Schrodinger's cat or however you say? Who knows? We can't see the outside right now in this spot that we're in, so it could potentially
Be sunny.
anything. Could be. Although it's rainfall warning, feels like rain, 11 degrees. So there you go.
I have
Sorry.
the same one.
It also says not a cab in sight. You'll
Also,
not get a
no
cab.
taxis.
Yeah, no
And
taxis.
no
That's
Uber
correct.
and no other
Buses are
ride
full
share.
of wet people.
It says take a bike. Sincerely,
Take
City
a bi-
Council. Is
Yeah,
that- is what
Vancouver.
they tell us.
Oh my god.
Oh
We
my.
have bike lanes.
Bike lane.
Oh my.
That are-
I could walk in a bike
that are
lane.
underwater.
Oh boy. Well, you know what? Free choice for all is always my position on all that stuff. So, don't hate on anybody else's mode of transportation. I don't mind people being pro-bike, but just don't be on anti-car. If you're anti-gasoline and pollution, googly eyes. Giant googly eyes. Are they glow-in-the-dark googly eyes too? I think so.
That sound
Happy
was
Halloween.
horrible.
It was a creepy sound.
I was like, what is happening
Very
over
creepy.
here?
Halloween
help.
is
It was almost like
started early.
nails
They help clean the
coming down the glass. Like,
And I see there's a tippy cat in the box out there too.
Yeah.
All right. So thanks for
lovely to
having
see
me
you,
on the
Jody.
show. I'm glad to be back. I'll be here for a couple weeks. So
you here.
will see me here in and out. And
Yay.
then I go back to Toronto to do more activism and agitation. But I don't think I'm going to be sticking around Toronto for Toronto winters.
No need for that.
No, if you have a choice, like I'm so lucky to have, I think I'm coming back here for the rainy winter instead.
Yep.
Although to be fair, last year Vancouver got snow for days and even weeks on end,
Fucking
which
crazy,
was
too.
apocalyptic because we get usually 1 day of snow every few years, and that throws us into disarray.
and that's how I like it.
And so last year, snow everywhere, and Toronto, not a whole lot of it. So we'll see. You'd never know. It's like the Schrodinger's cat thing again. I guess
Nope.
could be anything. Anything is possible.
I'm going to write the story of Schrodinger's cat from his perspective.
Why is everybody
cat's
talking about me?
Yeah.
It would be.
Am I alive or am I dead? I don't know. I'm in a box. It's
Am I in a
dark.
box?
I can hear stuff.
I can hear stuff.
They're all talking about
Getting
me.
harder to hear stuff. Oh,
I really like the googly
oxygen.
eyes. They're really
no
cool.
oxygen in the box.
Googly eyes.
All right, let's get out of here. Thanks to Kush Queen too for
Yeah.
Hi,
coming
chatters.
down on such a slushy day, down from the castle.
This is my second family, so I
And,
always, never miss a week.
Al, we still miss Al. He'll be around maybe next
I
week.
think next week.
He's in Spain.
He
Lifting
was in sunny
bricks all
Spain.
wrapped up in hoodies, doing
I know.
exercises, making me feel like a lazy bum. He's on
Like, what
Instagram.
happened?
He's
I'm like, what the hell? All of a sudden, he's just like
It's like beast,
on a roll, man.
beast mode. Is
Oh,
that what
yeah.
people say? Like he's like, oh man, I admire that. I'm like trying to get through yoga in the morning.
And when we phone
I'm
him,
just trying to get
he's
through the morning.
Waking up and getting out of bed.
Just getting my coffee.
When we call him, he's having a nap.
Of course.
Right.
That's what you
That's
We
what
didn't
you do
call him
after
today. Do you think he's gonna be mad?
give him a call in the middle of the night.
I should call him right now, really quickly.
Quick.
Quick.
Al, the alcoholist.
Uh,
No.
Okay.
No.
Close,
Fail. Did not hit the target. No.
but no cigar. Where is it?
probably in an airport somewhere.
No, he's not.
Going, oh, don't phone me now.
Maybe he's even watching and we don't even know.
Let's see.
Is he
He's
in
like,
the chat?
he's like, I wonder if they talk
Is he
about me.
pot
He's
smoker
gonna
in the
tune
chat? Do you think?
Al
420
is
Echo?
jamming. He probably is.
Ganjamon? Do you think that's Al? Al is jamming.
Do you think
Yeah, might
that's
be.
Al?
Might be. Hey,
Bro Doobie? That could be Al.
is there a jam night still
Detonator?
here? Do we got jam
Yep.
nights going on still?
Vicky,
It's been a
Vicky's
while for
doing it.
me. Every Tuesday.
You almost sounded like you said that with an accent. Do we have jam nights?
Do we have
Do
the
we,
jam
do we still
night?
have jam nights on Tuesdays?
Mama, eh?
That was great. That was awesome.
Just a night with jam to eat.
Anyways, no answer from Al, but we love him, so.
That's all right.
No, everybody's claiming to be Al now. Huh.
I am your Al.
Interesting.
I could be Al.
Hi,
This is
Al.
giving me nightmares. I had like a stalker named Al, so now I'm like, ah!
Look out for Al.
Everyone's like, I can be your Al.
That is kind of creepy.
Oh,
So I'm like reading everything. I'm like, oh my god.
no. Oh, no. 420 Echo is Kevin.
Hey, Professor Ziggy. Cool place that you're talking about there. I'll be back. That's fun. I like that.
That's fun.
Maybe we should look at the chat now and then.
Yeah,
kind
it's
of
kind
funny.
of
And they're fun,
Now
yeah.
it's your turn to entertain us. And so now, like,
But
Table's turn.
we gotta go.
I don't like it. Turn it off. Turn it off. Ah.
Not as
There'll actually
entertaining.
be no time for that.
No. not open the floor to the audience. Yeah.
Uh-oh, there goes my text. I gotta get out of here. It's probably Al. Or chilling like a villain, or early grower texting me.
Texting me.
Don't text me here. All right, let's get out of here.
Get out.
We'll see you next time. My Marijuana Man. Thanks for joining us. Peace, and keep your pot in a government-sanctioned 1 liter bag, and you'll be safe.
Yeah.
Anywhere you go. This is the new legalization standard.
This is it.
Yeah.
They had meetings over the size, too. I'm sure.
Wait a minute. Wait, but for real, the legal limit that they're going to let people carry is 30 grams, I believe?
No, not if you're
No?
flying.
But like,
You can
this
fill
is
Not
that
if
up-
you're flying.
You can fill that up with
30
hash.
grams minus 2 for the bag? How many grams is this? What's this? Milliliters? Or,
It's a 1 liter bag.
will it fit an ounce, you said?
3.
3? Oh, geez. Well, that's more
And
than
that's
you're
just
allowed.
bud if you grind it up. My God.
So you're only allowed 3 ounces on a plane, but nowhere else. So you better.
Well, as long as it fits in the 1 liter bag is the deal. It could be full of hash. Like it could be thick, full of hash. Give it to the guy. And it's in the 1 liter bag.
Wow.
And he'll go, thanks for being safe.
Yay.
Good.
It's the future. Future is is just 1 liter at a time.
Only 1 liter of weed.
So see you next time. Peace and pot.